Hey guys, this is Luneth, and this is my 8th. Sorry about that. Yep, this is my 8th battle. It's an old UU battle against Declan, my old friend, Chained Teapot, and yeah. So I led Masquerain, and he led Kangaskhan. So I go out to Gastrodon predicting a fake out, and he goes out to Meganium, and I get toxic on it, which I didn't think would have ultimately mattered because I assumed that most Meganiums carry aromatherapy. Oh, by the way, you should see the hacks in this battle. I got hacked so badly, but whatever. I go back out to Divine Moth, the new name I've given to my Masquerain, because, let's be honest, it's pretty divine. Look at the way it's just, floating there so elegantly. So yeah, I go for a Bug Buzz and he switches out to a Lantern, and in all fairness it does a decent amount. I was hoping to get a special defense drop there so I could possibly 3H KO it, but that doesn't happen. So I go back out to Gastrodon and I take the serve nicely. So for a few turns it's just switching between Gastrodon and Masquerain. I know he's going to predict an Earthquake. I've literally just had this battle. No, actually, I go for a Toxic. He predicted my Toxic, so I predicted his switch into something. Kangaskhan, possibly. So he goes out to Steelix. And yeah, I go back out to Divine Moth, and he switches and goes out to Meganium. And I'm just going to go for a Bug Buzz here because it should do a huge chunk of damage to the thing. I think for a while because I ponder whether he's going to switch out to Lantern, but if I had Energy Ball there it would have been a complete waste of time, so it's a good thing I didn't Energy Ball. So he goes out to his Altaria named Joe. I assume it's named after Omega Pit Angelico. I don't know why though, I've never seen Joe use an Altaria. Anyway, he goes out for a Dragon Claw. I thought for a second here I was screwed because I figured he'd go for a Dragon Dance, but then I realised that Gastrodon can take at least one hit after a Dragon Dance. So I go for a Recover because I figured he'd just switch. I actually don't know why I figured that, but yeah. So here is where it goes slightly downhill for me. I go for a Hydro Pump, which would have KO'd him because he stayed in. So he gets another Gyro Ball on me, and I thought at that stage in the battle it was over, but I was incorrect, as that was just a warm-up for what was to come. So I got to Medicham because I know with Pure Power, etc, etc, I can do a large chunk of damage if High Jump Kick lands, and it does, and look at the damage. However, critical hit, and it takes out Medicham. So yeah, I wasn't happy here. So I go to Armaldo, this new Armaldo that I'm trying out for the team. I go for a Rock Polish. It's a Rock Polish sweeper, which is obviously meant to be used late game, but because the situation is dire, I have to bring it out now. But he preempted that and just roared me out. So he also preempted my Flamethrower, and he goes out to Lantern. It gets a crit, but that's not relevant really. And here I get more hacks. I mean, Confuse Ray aside, the hack, not the confusion hacks, not that. Here he goes for a Discharge. I'm confused. I go for Toxic and miss, but one miss is not a big deal, right? But after he goes for a Surf, which does a lot of damage, I snap out of confusion and miss again with Toxic. It's just a little bit, wow, hacks is really kicking me in the arse, and it's just whatever. So what can you do anyway? So I just go for the Protect because I figured I could live with a smidge of HP, and I wouldn't have if I hadn't got the few hit points that I got through the Protect. So I do live and I do get the Toxic off, although at this stage in the battle it really doesn't matter. I just stay in because he's gonna outspeed me and there's nothing I want to switch out to. Yeah, so I go out to Armaldo and I figured he might switch. I don't know why. It was stupid of me to Rock Polish there. If I had Earthquake, I figured he would switch into Altaria. But yeah, that just wasn't really logical on my part. It didn't really matter at this stage. I didn't envision myself sweeping his entire team with a rock polish Armado that's just being tested. So yeah, Armado goes down to that surf. It did a fair chunk, to be honest, but whatever. So yeah, I have my new Pro Pass out, Unimatrix 0. If you don't get the reference, whatever. So I go for a few Earth Powers, another, and yeah, I get the useless special defense drop, and he dies to the toxic damage. So he goes out to Kangaskhan here. He's gonna KO me with Earthquake, and that's just whatever. What can you do about that? Nothing. And yeah, I got to my last stand really, Gastrodon. I told him on MSN that I wasn't gonna bother with the whole toxic store recover crap because, you know, I don't really feel like I have the need to do that because I know Deck, he's cool. So he switches out to Steelix just to let me take that down because, you know, just to make the scoreline a little more even, I guess. And he goes out to that thing and Leaf Blades, and that takes me out. So good game, Deck.